Three things I want to say right at the beginning. That the big debate is on whether leaders are born or made. And because I was not given that topic, I will not spend a lot of time on it. But I think I need to deal with it. First of all, in that debate of whether leaders are made or born, you should equate it to the discussion on which came first, the chicken or the egg. Because without a chicken, there could be no egg. Without the egg, there could be no chicken. You get the joke? So to ask somebody which came first is a difficult question. In the same way, to ask our leaders are made or born is difficult. Because I start by saying, if you are not born a leader, there is a likelihood that you regard leadership like a punishment. And you'll avoid it. And you have met people like that. You can see they are capable, but you give them leadership and they run away. Because somewhere within them, they feel like to lead people is a very big punishment. So it's my prayer that you will understand that the fact that you are here and willing, nobody forced you to be here. You came willingly, am I right? It means you are born a leader. Inside you, God must have placed something, because people who are not born leaders would run away. They only lead when they have no alternative. Like you happen to be a mother, and your children look at you as a leader. What do? In fact, when your child asks you a question, you want to run away and ask the father. Now, you need to understand that there are certain situations where you lead because you have no alternative. But things like the ones you have discussed, chances you are leading because you have made a choice. Am I right? So it means inside you is something put that gives you confidence. Yes, I can help. Yes, I can make things better. It means you are born a leader. So that's the first thing I wanted to establish. But number two, if you are born a leader and you are not ever made to be a leader, chances are you never perform well. Any leader who performs well was not only born a leader, he has been made a leader. And obviously, for you to be here today, it means you believe leaders can be made, isn't it? Otherwise, why would you give me an opportunity to talk to you? It's because inside you believe that although you're already a leader, if you spend a day in training, you become a better leader. And so I think it's an important thing to understand. I still remember my first role as a leader was 1959. At least when I was starting school and I was made a class prefect. And I didn't know how to write people's names. So when they made noise, I didn't know how to write the name. And of course, it created a lot of difficulty. I was demoted. Now, but when I was now in the mid-60s, when I was finishing my primary school, I finally became the school time prefect. That's the person who organized the times for the school. And this time I was finishing my KPE. It used to be called KPE those days. And I was in charge. And that was the major leadership role in organizing the way the whole school from Standard 1 to Standard 7, organizing them. And I can remember the challenges, especially the challenge of when my friends come late and I know that their backside is going to be straightened by the teacher. How do I write their name down? They also feel like, given our friendship, I must consider the friendship before writing down their names. Have you ever gone through that? And that's one of the challenges, my friend, you have as a leader. If you are unable to keep to the rules of the organization because of extraneous friendships, you are a bad leader. Do you get your new title? Because any good leader is able to face the mother and say, Mom, it's not yet time. Do you remember someone who said that? Jesus wanted the mother to sort out a problem. And the young boy, he was, okay, maybe around that time, he said, Mom, it's not yet my time. That's the real mother. Another time he was called because the parents were afraid because rumors were he had gone mad. So the parents came and the relatives came to find out his brothers. And when he was told to go out, when he is really ministering, he told them, my mother, my father are actually here. Do you remember the story in the Bible? He was clear. When you are a leader, you must have clarity that allows you to be fair to the friends and enemies if there are any. You must have that. So what I'm trying to say is that you can tell very easily where you are a leader. Because it does not mean a leader is not in love with the people he's leading. After all, if you are not in love with the people you are leading, chances are you will not be a good leader. However, the key ingredient of leadership is justice and fairness. Justice and fairness. Because when you don't have it, my friend, you have a very difficult time in leading. It is the fact that I write my friend's name down and his backside is straightened. Then another time an enemy comes late. He knows there is no need of negotiating. If his friends were threatened, no need for negotiation. You know, it makes my work easy. Because nobody ever will come to say, we negotiate. Because they know if I can make that one suffer, I am not sikumwonea. You know that Swahili? Ananionea. I am sikumwonea. It is that I am the fair guy. And why do we need justice and fairness in leadership? The answer is because without trust, you become a dictator, not a leader. But when people trust you, you're able to tell them, stand up, like the way this Valentine couple was telling us a little while ago. And you would stand up, isn't it? Because we believe they did not mean evil. We trusted them. Now, do you know, if you are the type of people who make you stand up and make you fall, and you can have an accident, if they go to the front, chances you will follow them? It is the trust mix. And you need to understand that trust, although it's not my topic today, I said before I deal with my topic, I deal with 3 basic things. Trust is something that is the most important thing in leadership. Because when people trust you, you are able to lead them. Without trust, there is no leadership. There is dictatorship. I am told in Palestine, the way shepherds look after their sheep, they actually normally go ahead and the sheep follow. So when Jesus in John chapter 10 was talking about my sheep follow me, he was not talking about Kikuyu sheep or Masai ones. Because Masai ones, we go behind them and twanga them, and they go where you want them. That's not leading. That is forcing. And as few leaders, even in Daystar, are like that. And I'm sure as I talk, you know who I'm talking about. Where they feel like there's no question of being trusted. They have said it, their word is final, and they feel like because they are the ones who have been appointed or elected, they can do anything with you. Are there people like that? Those are Masai or Kikuyu shepherds who force the sheep to go to a certain direction. Leadership is like when you read my book, A Leader's Source of Influence. That is the basis. That's the basis of the book. That you are not a leader until people follow you willingly. Because you see, a leader is somebody with the followers. How can you call somebody a follower if you are behind him? Are you getting the sheep that the sheep are ahead, the shepherd is behind and twangling them? Are they following him? He is actually the one following them. Are you getting the joke? Yeah. So you need to understand that if you are a leader, there must be followers. A leadership guru said, when you see a leader without anybody following, please, he's taking a walk, not leading. Now, and it's important to understand, we are not talking about the people because of your title you are forcing to do certain things. We are saying people who voluntarily want to follow you. Because you are ahead of them, they are following you. Leadership depends on followers. And followers follow willingly. Are we together? And for them to follow willingly, they must trust you. If they think you are just about to get them to where they will be murdered, are they going to follow you? So there must be a big sense of trust for anybody to go with you. And maybe at another time we'll deal with that subject in a bigger manner. But I thought I wanted to set some basics rules, which I can say have been one leadership role or another from the 60s to date. And I can tell you that I have seen difficult times. Like I told you, I was a prefect in 1967 in primary school. At 68, as I entered high school, I was appointed within January. I was entered to enter into what we were calling Sunday evening committee, entertainment committee. So if you came to my school in 68, I used to be the one in the Sunday service organizing and doing what the Valentine couple were doing and leading the whole school. And I was a small, short boy and leading the whole school. And that happened. And by the time I was in Form 4, I was the leader of the Christian Union. After that, I went for my A-level school. Again, I was both a prefect and in the leadership of the CU. After that, I went to university in 1975. I was the chairman of the University Christian Union. I can say the university because those days there was only one in Kenya. So when I say the university, you don't ask which one. There were not two. I was the chairman of the University Christian Union. Kalonzo was one of my CU members. That's our generation, and others like Kiraito. That's my age group. So I have had opportunity right through, and then after that I work for a development bank, and then after that I work for a multinational oil company, and the multinational oil company started from a junior executive right up to a member of the leadership team or management team before I retired. So I have had opportunities either in business or in church. In church I've been a deacon, I've been an elder, I've been involved. I'm currently in the advisory council of Focus, but originally I was in the council. I was in the council itself. I was the chairman in the 80s. I was the chairman of KSCF. Have you heard of KSCF? I was the chairman of KSCF from 83 to 87, and then after that, currently I'm the chief patron, again, which is an advisory role. So I'm involved and have done enough number of mistakes for this brother to want to recall me, so that I can tell you about a number of my mistakes, so that at least you don't repeat the same one, isn't it? Yeah, you will still make yours, but they'll be original. So, you avoid mine. That's why you normally call somebody older, so that they can share their mistakes, so that you only make original mistakes. You don't follow. But if you don't listen, then you end up making yours and mine. But if you listen to mine, at least you reduce the mistakes, because you will still make yours, but at least you will not repeat mine. And that's why we are here. The topic we are given initially is a very, very, very important, and I'm measuring the number of minutes. I think I'm allowed to speak for an hour, isn't it? I'm timing myself. I've spoken for 13 minutes so far. The topic I want to start with is leader strategic vision. And I'm here to tell you that in addition to what I've given in my introduction, the key differentiating factor for a leader is his ability to know where they are going. Because if he is ahead of them, now, I don't know where he is going. He just reaches there somewhere. I can remember taking my family to Masai Mara, and we got lost. We reached a place. I told them, the hotel is likely to be, the hotels in Masai Mara are actually literally in the bush. So it is not something you're seeing, it's over here. We go, after 2 kilometers, said, I think we are lost. Let's go back where we began. That's not good leadership, isn't it? You need to have a clarity of where you are going. Because by that time, the whole family took over to deciding. Now, they're no longer trusting me. Say, no, it becomes a debate at which direction we shall go. There's no leader. All of us are leaders now. Because the leader is no longer trusted. Are you getting the point? So if you really want to be trusted, you must have a strategic vision. Better than anybody else within the group. If you don't, do not expect that people... You will still lead because you have a title. But please understand, you will have a very, very hard time. Do you know there are people who lead and enjoy every evening? And by the end of the year, when they are handing over, they have enjoyed their leadership. The others who, like Kenyatta, suffer without bitterness. But they endure their leadership. While others enjoy the leadership. The choice between enduring and enjoying depends on your strategic vision. Clarity of where you are. If you are a member of DCF for this 1 year, there must be clarity right at the beginning. What is it you want to achieve? But even more important, how does it line up with the long-term vision of DCF? So you must have both. In other words, when DCF has done its very best, this is what will happen to Daystar community. But since you're only given 1 year, my contribution to that is likely to be this. If you enter into DCF leadership and you don't answer both those questions, the year goes so quickly. If you ask what you achieved, all you can say is, I'm a big man. Because obviously your title was known. You kept speaking in chapel. But you have achieved not 0, but next to 0. You know there is a figure next to 0. That's exactly what we have actually achieved. Or because right at the beginning, you did not have a strategic vision. It's important, and remember I'm giving you strategic vision are two types. There is long-term and short-term. And if you have short-term without a long-term, there is a possibility that your short-term vision will lead the organization away from its long-term vision. So you must have clarity of the long-term one, so that whatever you are doing is aligned to the long-term vision that is yours. So I am saying, there is no vision, there is no leadership, if there is no vision. Because leadership is leading people to a place. So if you have no vision, obviously, then how can you say you are a leader? You may be a manager. Please tell the difference. There's a difference between a manager and a leader. A manager is a person who manages a group going to a place that a leader has already determined. It's normally, management is a routine activity. You know, those of you doing commerce must have done the basics of management. Used to be summarized in the 70s. Used to be summarized with the PDOC: planning, directing, organizing, controlling, evaluating. All those are things that help you in management, not necessarily leadership. Are we together? So if you want to lead, you must have a clarity or vision. And that's what I'm saying. Next, I've already said in the introduction, if you want to lead, you must have influence. How do you get influence? I argue you can get influence just by title. The minute I am told they are going to be the ones who are MCs, the title MC gives them some power. I want to know them. So how much time are you going to give me? All they have needed to have an influence on me was to hear that the Valentine couple is also the leading couple. So I will start wanting to have some. Am I communicating? So the title gives you some influence. Do not be cheated. However, title only gives you temporary influence. Because as soon as I ask them a question, they answer, let's consult. Then I ask another question, let me consult. I realize, although they have the title of the lead, the MC, they actually know nothing about what they are emceeing about. It is this guy who is leading by remote control. Are you getting the point? So within no time, I'll move from following them to following him. Are you getting my point? And that's exactly what happens. There are people within your organizations who have no title of leadership, but they are the ones leading. Every group normally has leaders and title holders. And sometimes the title holder is not the leader. Because leading, I told you earlier, is influence. So if you don't have influence, you are not a leader, but you still retain the title. Like if you are the DUSA chairman, with all that campaign and you won the elections, the title itself gives you some influence, isn't it? But within 3 months, people know who the real leader is. And they will not come to you. And by the way, it was normally with the managers. Because manager goes with salary. You are given a big salary and you are called manager. And of course, I've been manager for many, many years. Do you know, every time I go to a new department and I'm the manager, I want to find out who the leader is. Because I discover I better not cheat myself. Sometimes I'm not the leader. I am the manager. My salary will still be higher. But I need to find out who the leader is. How do you know the leader? Whenever you have a departmental decision to make, and you give people ideas, they kind of tend to ask for time to go to think. It is not that they are looking for time to go to think. It's time to consult the real leader. And the real leader may be just a messenger. Now he has no title, but somehow people trust him. Either he has been in that department for so long and done so well, he creates friendship. He has a gift of friendship. And within no time people know that whenever so-and-so says something, take him seriously. He knows what he is talking about. So when they go to him. In fact, if you follow them, you can tell them running to his office. And what do you think about it? What should he? Do you know? Although that guy has no power, no title, whatever he says, the next time they come back to my office, it is the decision will be what that man says. So if I'm clever as a manager, I have to identify that person. Because there's no need of calling a whole meeting before I talk to him. So what do? Call him to my office to have a cup of tea. Of course he doesn't, since he's not a recognized leader, he has no title. I just have a cup of tea with him. And I ask him, maybe I want us to change from working on Saturdays so that we make each day longer and we remove Saturday working. But some people don't want to come early in the office and don't go late. So there is a resistance. So I just call him to my office and say, hey, sometimes I wonder, what do people do on Saturdays? It's just an open question. He says, some go away for weddings, but some go for funerals. People die. Now, so you need to be aware that things happen. Oh, is it? Now, do you think then they would have higher output, the productivity will increase in the company, if we took the 5 hours of Saturdays, if we added 1 day each to each of the days, by starting half an hour earlier in the morning and going late half an hour, the 5 hours will go into a working day, and then we leave Saturday. People now can go for funerals and weddings. By the way, come to think of it, that would be a good idea. Now, but by the way, don't do it that way. I'll tell you what you do. Mornings are very difficult. So, my suggestion would be, you make it only in the evening. 1 hour in the evening. How is that? Yeah, but anyway, let's forget about it. But anyway, we have just talked. Did you enjoy the cup of tea? Yes. Meeting finished. You stay about 3-4 weeks, the matter is finished. One day you call them. When you call them, you start the same way with the ideas. And then they say, let's go and think. You know where I'll be running? To the same guy. The guy will say, you think it was the one him picking? That was my idea. Once they learn that it is not the manager's idea, it's the leader's idea. Meeting over. They come back. Very excited. In agreement. Can you see what I'm trying to talk about? That as soon as you know who the leader is, once you align yourself with the leader, you'll have a better job. By the way, you'll not get the salary. The salary will still be yours. But you'll have an easier time. Are you getting my point? So all I'm trying to get you to understand is that title gives you only temporary influence. Within no time, there might be something. Like, for example, if I got this leading couple, Valentine couple, so I call them, now, and they seem to be understanding any question I ask, they seem to be able to answer. They are leading the meeting properly. The thing is going okay. Within no time, I will not be following them because of the title. I will be following them because of competence. So, the first source of influence is title. The second one is competence. I can tell you clearly, if there is something you are doing, whoever seems to do it better, within no time it has an influence. Have you noted that? Like maybe you are doing revision in economics, and somebody seems to know econometrics very well. It gives the other people struggle. Do you know what will happen? Every time there is a study group, guess who is the leader? That person. And where is he getting his influence from? Competence. So you need to understand that although you get a title, if you want influence that will last, you must quickly get competence. Do your job thoroughly. So you not only have a vision, you must be able to do it. Anyway, when you talk about competence, We are talking about three things put together. And I think those of you who are with in Kabete, I mentioned some of them. Are there people who are with at Kabete? Not at Kabarak. We did a DESTA leaders thing at Kabete Fort something. It was called Fort what? Word of Life. Formerly it was a fort for a Muzungu. How many were in the Word of Life? Wow, you are here in a minority. All the others graduated. Okay. Now, so, if you talk about leadership, and remember we are trying to answer the question of how do you get influence so that people can follow you. And you have said it is a title, but then I have discounted title. It's very short-lived. The second thing I'm saying is competence. We want to break up competence. What do you mean by competence? For people to regard you as competent, number one is your ability to conceptualize. Your ability, that's a critical thing. And I don't have the time to really, today I'm not intending to spend all my time going to it. Because each one of them can be a seminar. Conceptualization. What is to conceptualize? To think things in the head before they become a reality on the ground. That's the conceptualization. And some people cannot conceptualize. Actually, the difference between an engineer and a technician is conceptualization. If you call a technician to your house to modify a place, do you know he cannot see it in totality before doing? So what he does is to build one place and he looks. Yeah, Muse, let's buy here. Looks. I still remember as a young man, about 25 years ago, there's something we were trying to modify. We had just gotten a mortgage house, and there are things we wanted to modify. And then we called a couple. He was a Christian, lovely Christian man. And we called him to, okay, then I told him, given my multinational job, I don't have a lot of, I have a very busy life. So I told him on a weekend, do check clearly all the materials you require, draw it, finish it in your head, then let's look for all the materials. We'll go to Gikomba, we buy everything. Then during the week, with the house girl there, you don't need to call me. You now do everything. Oh, by Tuesday, I was rang from the house. Hey, Muse, we forgot something. Say, but I told you during the week, I'm not available. He says, I'm very sorry, but there's a very important thing, the project cannot continue. So I had to drive over the lunch hour. He showed me, and I realized it's very serious. So we had to go to Gikomba. I had to ask for time off at work. We went to Gikomba, we bought. I told him, I hope now you are sure. Sure? Yes, Muse, I'm sure. You know, people call young people Muse, because 25 years ago I wasn't really old. But he's calling me Muse. So he bought. He continued. By Thursday, I was again rang. Muse, I don't know what to tell you. I'm so sorry. You just have to forgive me. But the project cannot end unless you come. That's when I discovered the difference between an engineer and a technician. A technician does what the engineer says. Because he was never trained to conceptualize a complete thing before he sees. He sees something, it energizes him to do the next. But when you're an engineer, you can think up and draw it. Have you seen what architects do? You haven't even bought the land. You come and show them a piece of land on these plains. I want to buy that one. They will go back to their house, picture it, even where the sun will be setting, and draw the building for you, and they can show you, and they ask you, how many children do you intend to have? 2 boys, 2 girls. They can show you the children running, and you haven't even married yet. Now, they are able to imagine, they are called 3-dimensional, 3D drawing by architects. Have you seen them? And he completes it, and you have not even bought the land yet. That's what vision is all about. Conceptualization. Ability to see the end product before you have even bought the raw materials. And that's a key competence required out of leaders. Because if you don't, every committee meeting, you'll see a few things. Then you'll call another quick one. Oh, we forgot. Now, sure, it's your responsibility as a leader to prepare the agenda, isn't it? But how will you prepare the agenda if you don't know the complete story all at the beginning? And that's not easy. Not every one of us has that ability. You even need training in this area. The ability to think. And some of the problems of conceptualization are simply this. That for us in Africa, traditionally, not you are modern. But if you go to my parents, who are your grandparents, they certainly grew up in a different culture where you are not supposed to think through. For example, when your wife is pregnant, you don't start thinking about the clothes the child will wear. It is evil. The child could die in the womb. Now, just next time you're visiting your grandmother, ask. They were not allowed. You are not supposed to make any clothes for the baby until the baby shows up. Because if you start making the dress, the baby might never show up. So in our culture, you are not allowed to think ahead. You are supposed to deal with the thing when it happens. So the same way, for example, if I saw her sitting in a way she will fall, and she can't see that this thing is about to fall, and I say, you know you are going to fall. If she falls, they know something. There's something wrong with my tongue. When you go to your grandparents, do you hear those things? And they actually believe it. So what happens? In our African culture, we wait until something happens. I knew it. Liliana. I knew she was going to fall. Now, why did you say, like a human, let them come out, let the owners talk about it. You are not allowed. And obviously that's what has kept Africa backwards. Why? We are trying to move forward, looking backwards. And you can't go very far, can you? So it's important to understand that if we are talking about leaders, that we must die. We must become proactive rather than reactionary. Reactionary are people who deal with issues as they come. Proactive are people who imagine the issues before the issues come. And so if you want to be a leader, you must work. And you know it's extra work. Because obviously you are dealing with a need that has not yet shown up. Some of the things you are thinking about, it's not you are committed that you will do them. They are going to be done by somebody who is in 35 when they finally come to this time. Because you are looking long term, isn't it? So when you have most of the problem of Africa, even our own president, is that when the president takes over, any project he comes with, he must himself do it. So even when he has said he is running for 2 terms, if some of the projects are not over, he now changes the constitution to go to a 3rd term, isn't it? Isn't that what they have done in Uganda? And they are doing it currently in where is it? The Mzee, the old man at 80 who is trying to stand. What's the country called? Senegal. The guy is 80, but he is trying to do a 3rd term. Now you need to understand it's all because of we do not believe in thinking about the future. We want to deal with now. So I want to ask you, as leaders in each one of the groups, can you tell me what you expect to be happening 10 years from now in your organization? If you can't, you are still leaders, but now you know where your level is, isn't it? Because it means that you are busy being like every African, becoming reactionary, dealing with the issues your committee is going through. You have no time to invest in the long-term vision. So that in the end, whatever you are doing, and you know something? If this is the way to Mombasa, if you pick another road looking like it's going to Mombasa, but it's deviating by 1 degree only, do you know after 500 kilometers, you'll be in Lamu? And you only deviated from the way to Mombasa by 1 degree. A small deviation will send you, over time, many, many kilometers from your original destination. That's why it is critical that each organization is not only having a plan for the short term, but has plan for the short term and long term. So that you don't force the group then. So that those people who are going to come many years later can discover you are so far away from going to Mombasa. Their job will not be to plan how to go on, but how to correct your error. Called waste of time. Or because somebody in 2012 took a deviation, but it was so small, nobody could notice it. It was only 1 degree. 10 years later, we are completely away from the direction the organization is supposed to go. So I hope you can then get conceptualization. Conceptualization is the idea to think through where the organization is going, and we are calling it a competence. Telling you competence in 3 ways. And I can tell you clearly, anybody who has conceptualization easily becomes the leader of a group. You sit in a place, and you are wondering what to do, but this guy is so gifted in thinking. He can quickly think about the concepts, the issues, and you ask, what do we need to do? He has already thought through and even thought of alternatives. By the time the others are starting to think, they say, please be our leader. Nobody else can be our leader. Who else can? Isn't that what happened to Joseph? You know Joseph, the son of Jacob? There's a dream. He has seen that there will be 7 years of plenty, 7 years of poverty. And he is already saying somebody should help you to plan properly. This is a very serious matter. Pharaoh said, I know you are from the wrong tribe. Because obviously he was a Jew and they had no respect for such people who are sheep keepers. You have read the story in Genesis, isn't it? They didn't have any respect for them. But he said, we are in trouble. When in trouble, it doesn't matter who leads. We go for the guy with the concept. And since you are the one who can see ahead, be our leader. Nobody in the land will be more senior than you. Only me as Pharaoh. You know the story? What do you think brought that? The power of conceptualization. Remember, we are answering the question, how can you become a man or woman of an influence so that you actually can lead your group? By ability to think clearly on behalf of the group. Now, but I could spend time on it. The second one is skip human relational skills and go to relevant technical skills. Relevant technical skills. In other words, if it's the peer counseling group and they are counseling about AIDS, you will be competent in thinking how to organize a group, how the peers can be recruited, where they will be going. Thank you very much. But if you don't know anything about AIDS, you think AIDS is a cow. Now you need to ask, you need to understand that the minute they discover you don't know the technical side of the thing, the influence you are getting from the title, the influence you are getting from the conjuration, they will change from admiring you. They will call you a dreamer. Are you getting the point? You're a dreamer. Because how come you are talking so clearly and you don't know what to do? That's why it is important to understand that whatever area you want to lead, you must have technical competence. You must have an idea about how the thing is to be done. Because if you have absolutely no idea, even if your vision is okay, it will be difficult to move the group. You need what I'm calling relevant technical skills in the area you are dealing with. And you can see the clarity of what I'm talking about. Look at DCF. You can have somebody who is good, very good, on the area of organizing people. The area of where where this stuff should be going spiritually. Absolutely magnificent. You really want to follow him. You discover the guy does not even know what quiet time is all about. You tell him, how are we going to help the organizer? How are you going to help people do quiet time? QT. They say, quiet time? Surely. Why would you want them to be quiet? That's the time you discover he is certainly a leader, he is able to conceptualize. But technically, he has no idea. It's not something he has ever thought about. Am I communicating? Will he go very far? Yeah. You can have an idea, like my Valentine team, of how to lead the leadership day. But you have no idea about singing a chorus, even croaking it. Now, you go to the front, and you can tell within no time, you think, which chorus? Chorus? Now, give me a chorus. Within no time, it will be very clear they are doing the wrong thing. Not because they don't have a clarity. If they may even have presented a plan of how the day will go. But they technically cannot do what they say they can do. Are you getting my point? That if you really want influence on people, you must know something about the area you are trying to lead. Don't just say, me, I'm a leader. I can do anything. Do you know people like that? They want to lead everywhere. Now, that's the way to end up losing your influence. There are areas where even if they tell you to lead, please resist it. Because that's the way people certainly lose your trust in you. Because you think you are incapable. But I still remember 1969. Somebody came from America. After 9 years, the people who had gone there during the Tomboya uplift in the late 1959, 61, just before independence, Tomboya was taking a lot of young people to America. So he had stayed there 9 years, because that was around 1960. He came to our school to teach us 1969. He was so desperate for a job that although he had been in America for that long and was doing his master's by the time he came back, he had studied literature. It was literature and CRE. But because he was ready to come, in 1969, if you remember, there was the first tribal clashes, were 1969, when Tom Mboya died. Tom Mboya died in 69. And so there was a lot of fight. And so our Swahili teacher, who was from another region in Kenya, ran away so that he is not killed. And then this guy got an opportunity to get the job. But then the guy has not been in Kenya for that number of years. He has no idea about Swahili. So he was given Swahili and geography, which the other teacher was teaching. Do you know that guy suffered for the rest of his time? Because he came to class and he can't remember any Swahili. And he's supposed to be teaching us. Do you know, he becomes a laughing stock for the class. The class really were happy. They really enjoyed him. Now, then he comes geography and he says latitudes are lines that go across like this. Now, of course, if you are in Form 2, Form 3, you already know that, isn't it? But here in America, you can choose subjects. So he had not done geography. And he went there to do high school before university. He had did high school, first degree, and second degree, all in America. So he had no idea. So he said, young people, this is latitude. They go like this. So by the time he leaves the class, I can tell you the young people laugh. They cannot imagine somebody who is claiming to have a master's. Not even they think it's common sense. Now, that gave him a laughter. Even when finally he was able to be retired to literature and CRE, people had lost trust in him. They just said, who is he going to be a teacher? So and so. He says, it's between you and God. Now, it all came from not having technical skills in the area he's involved. So I'm not suggesting that you should not be involved in areas, but you need to do a lot of reading. If you are told that somebody is going to appoint you in peer counseling, go to the internet and find who is a peer. Is he peer is the word we use for the House of Lords in Britain. They call each other peers. And the ones in this are also lords. So you are lord. Now you need to find out what it is and what are the alternatives. Study it. Because just visualizing is not enough. You need some technical ability, some knowledge about the area. And it's important. Especially, I'll be coming to a minute, especially at a certain level, leading a certain level. It's practically impossible to lead without technical skills. So, if you have the conceptualization skill, and then you have technical skills, you are moving well. But let me tell you, until you have human relational skills, there's no hope for you. You can never lead your group to any level of success until you know how to relate. Why? Remember, a leader is trying to organize a group to do something, isn't it? So, the only way other people can hear you is through your communication skills, which is part of your communication skills. So, there are people who are wonderful at visualizing. They are wonderful at technical skills, but they are just bad people with dealing with people. Have you met them? Where you know the guy knows. Some of them are lecturers and you sympathize with them. They had not because getting a PhD, but they come to class and simply can't communicate. Have you ever met them? You can see the guy is struggling. By the way, if you ever go to his note, like one of my lecturers who was teaching nothing, one day a girl got pregnant, one of the university in our class, got pregnant, and so she had to leave. Do you know the teacher was so friendly? He took his notes, in the 70s, copied them, and gave the girl. We all went to see the notes. They were so good that we all copied them. So that even in front of him are wonderful notes, but when he comes to talk, he talks nonsense. Now you can't see why he can do such good preparation, but he's unable to communicate something within his note. We could not believe. Because he used to write the topic on the board. After writing the topic, for the rest 1 hour, we have no idea what the guy is saying. And when you look too down, he starts talking about which girl he went with when he was a young man. Now, you need to understand. Because somehow he thought that the way to wake us up is to become immoral. Now, so at the end, unfortunately in the exam, you will not be tested on immorality. Now, so you have a problem with the... So with the teacher, we felt like the worst teacher. So, but when he saw the notes and saw how technically good the notes were, we just sympathized with the guy. Are you getting my point? So you need to understand that You have no business calling yourself a leader if you don't know how to deal with human beings. Because the leadership is about influence. And you will not have influence if people don't trust you. And people will not trust you when they think you are not a good person. You know, there are people who call themselves leaders, and you greet them, and they look the other way around. Except during a meeting, is when they smile and greet you wonderfully, and they are always at 2:45, smiling, like a clock at 2:45, as long as you're in the meeting. You move out, and you meet them on their way to are their halls this side, and they are moving, and they are at 6 o'clock. Long face. And you wonder who has happened to them. But it's like their clock got stuck at 6. They never move from 6 o'clock. Now, those kind of people do not know how to relate with others. And chances are, they will not end up with. So you need to understand that every one of us, to be a leader, must know how to deal with people. Some of you know how to deal with senior people. You even know how to talk nicely to them. No wonder you got a title. But the people you are leading, anybody you regard as lower than you, you like sitting on them, stepping on them. You can go nowhere. When I talk about the human relational skills, it's the ability to lead to lead the people senior than you, people who are your peers, and people below you. You must be able to get people below you to feel like they are so important, you value them. So that they feel like this girl really believes that if they lost me in this group, the group would come to a standstill. Do you know when every one of the people you are leading feels like they are critical to the thing? Can you see the thing succeeding? So, and the responsibility of a leader to make everybody in the meeting feel very, very important. VIP. But a lot of us don't feel like that. We feel like some people must be VIPs, others must be low IPs, low importance people. Now, it's important to understand that what we are saying you need to read. Now, we have now got three things that make up competence for any leadership. Computerization skill, relevant technical skills, human relational skills. However, as I finish, I want to tell you that those things are only possible or useful to different levels depending on the level you're operating. For example, let's talk about an organization, a business organization. If you are MD, 70% of your work is conceptualization. 70% of your work is thinking. You think on behalf of the organization. Then 20% is relational, leading management. Only 10% is technical. Do you know if you're MD, for example, of a hotel, you may never know even how to make an egg. And yet breakfast has eggs, isn't it? So when you say technical, in a hotel, what we say technical, it is people who can cook the egg and the sausage, it becomes yummy. So that when the customers come for breakfast, they will never want to go to another hotel. Isn't that technical? So what we are saying is, even if you are the CEO of the hotel, you must know something about to make eggs. But you don't have to make good eggs. Am I communicating? All you need to understand what is the cook going through. Try to make it, even if you make a bad egg. Eat it yourself. Now, but at least by going through that experience, you have an idea what the cook is going through. That's what I mean. Because at the level of the CEO, you may never have a chance to work with. They normally say you can always tell a CEO who used to be a cook. He was a cook, then promoted to a chief chef, then he was promoted to the food and beverage manager. Finally, when they are looking for CEO, he was made CEO. Some of them never accept the promotion because they feel so good in the kitchen. Even when he is a CEO, every morning he's in the kitchen making eggs. Now, do you know what happens? Since he is doing somebody else's job, is anybody doing his job? Within no time, there are no egg suppliers. Because the contract of the egg supplier ended and there was nobody to renew the contract. So he is busy making eggs. There's no more eggs. Why? The supplier that was not paid. He stopped now. The hotel comes to a standstill Because he is making eggs. You must understand that when you become a CEO, technical skills are important, but they're only 10% of what you need. So I'm trying to tell you that even when you want to be a good leader, you must know that the three are not required to the same level. Let's go the other way around to a cook. A cook at the bottom, isn't it? He requires only 10% or so, and this is just an estimate. He requires only 10% of conceptualization. Because even if he conceptualizes where the hotel industry is going, where with the euro dollar suffering, now surely his job is, he doesn't have the chance to talk to the people in Europe. Am I communicating? So he should not spend a lot of his time. I'm a cook, and he's the one going to the internet to check what's happening to the euro. You know, Merkel sounds like he's going to make Europe collapse. Now, it's good to know, but that's why we are saying at least 10%. He must know where the industry is going to. But not beyond 10%. 70% of his work should be in making eggs. Am I communicating? So it depends on where you are in terms of importance. Because if he is making good eggs, there is room for promotion. His biggest influence is on that kitchen table. Because if he is making them, he'll soon be a chef, chief chef, isn't it? And they are very highly paid. So don't spend all your time like I had when I was the manager at Kisumu. I was for my multinational, and I had a clerk who knew what shares were going down. You know, manager, these ones of breweries, I can tell you next week, they will just be down. Now I didn't even know as much, but that's what he spent. But within no time I told him, you know, you have to watch out. Your jobs is not being done very well. So unless you intend to resign to go to stock exchange, you need to look at what you are doing. The interesting thing is both of us are now retired. And he is still, every time you see him buy a paper, he's on the stocks. And that was in the 80s, about more than 20 years ago when he used to work at me in Kisumu. Now, what I'm trying to get you to see is clearly that all the three are important, but they are not equally important. However, let me tell you, this thing called human relational skills is required right through. Whether you are a cook, how you work with the other cooks depend on your ability to relate with them. If you are in middle management, like the chief chef, you will need to know that in order to organize the other cooks, you must know how to communicate. And even if you are the top guy. So, the thing that changes with the levels is conceptualization and technical skills. Human relation skills are needed at every level. That's why I told you, the most important gift a leader requires is human relational skills. You cannot, it doesn't matter the level. I certainly know that the middle management requires 50% of the middle management's competence will come out of relation. Because you see, the chief chef does not cook. And yet he doesn't sit in the top management. He is in the middle. So what is his major job? Let me give you now the percentages. So when it comes to the middle management, I can tell you, you need 50% will be human relational skills. Then 30% is technical. How can you supervise cooks if you don't know how to cook? And then only 20% is now conceptualization. So you have to have it in different ways. And so ask yourself in the area you are leading, at what level are you leading? Are you trying to invest your time in developing a competence that is not a required, it's another competence you are ignoring? Now, some of these things I've given other sources of inference, and that's there in my book, The Reader's Source of Inference. So I assume you are going to read it, so I will not go into that. So what have we said that far? That a leader is a person of influence in a group, and that he must have a vision. But the second thing that's required of this vision must be agreed by the whole group. Now you can see why I'm emphasizing the relational skills. In other words, once you see the end, it is useless until you are able to communicate with everybody. Even the junior-most person must know where the organization is going. Because everybody in that organization will be working towards that vision. So when you get a vision, it must be an agreed vision, saying where is the group going. You know, you ask somebody, where do you want to work? Breweries. Are you saved? Yes. What do you want to do in breweries? You know, I'm doing chemistry. My job will be to brew. Now, says, but do you want people to be drunk? No, I'm not selling. I'm only brewing. Now, he can't see that the vision of breweries cannot happen without a chemist. You're getting my point? That there is nobody in breweries whose job is not to get people drunk. Everybody. If you're a stock accountant, your job is to maintain stocks in various depots to such a level. You even develop computerized systems that can predict when the crates are getting down, so that the lorry can go there as fast as possible. That's the work of an accountant. So if you're a CPA, they really want you, so that you can manage it. Why? What are you managing? So that more people can get drunk. So you need to understand, as an accountant in breweries, your job is to get people drunk. If you are sweeping, say, me, I'm only a sweeper in the place. Why do you think you sweep? You sweep to ensure that as the beer is being made, it doesn't get contaminated. So that it will be properly done, so people can get drunk. You need to understand. So you need, as a leader, everybody, irrespective of what they are doing, must understand how they help the organization to go where it is going. You know, somebody said, he was walking, and he found 3 people making, in the old days, in the we're talking about 14th century, 15th century, 16th century, the church was in control of Europe. So you go to see that, even now when you go for a tour in Europe, the tourist attractions are churches. Because the architect of those 300, 500, 600 years ago, I was in Finland, and I saw a house, and I wondered, when I was told it was built 1650, I actually couldn't believe it. Because you wonder, how are the stones going up there? It was built in a big way. So somebody went to and saw some people that were masons, and they were building a church. He found the first one. He said, what are you doing? I'm laying bricks, because it was made with bricks. I'm laying bricks. That is what, and he was, that's true, isn't it? His job is to lay bricks. Then he was going, watching the site. He saw someone else. He asked him, what are you doing? I am building a cathedral. Both of them are doing exactly the same job. But the concept of one is not the total vision. I'm just laying bricks. That's boring, isn't it? Just laying one brick on top of a... What about the guy making a cathedral? Every time he comes that morning, he pictures the most beautiful thing in Europe. And you'll be able to tell his grandchildren, I was a part of this. In terms of motivation, which one is more motivated? The brick layer or the cathedral maker? I'm getting the point. The work of a leader is to get the brick layer to stop doing that and become a cathedral maker. So that's what you need. Whatever group you are leading, everybody must come. Like one of them, maybe you are DCF, there's somebody who has been asked to be the Valentine lady of that particular chapel day, and feels nice. But then there's somebody else who is giving hymn books as people enter, isn't it? Feels mine is just like, what are you doing? Giving books. Now you must get him to think that the future, the determination as to whether people go to hell or heaven depends on the hymn book. So what are you doing? I'm taking the people into heaven. Now you need to understand that it will cease to be just giving books into a ministry. Am I communicating? Yes. Or because of what does the DCF leadership see itself as achieving and doing? So as they say, that one, you don't need a very experienced person. You can just give anybody to give books. Now, but you haven't heard, I told you there were 3 guys, isn't it? Would you like to know about the third one? He made the third one and asked him, what are you doing? Says, wow, I'm preparing to do populate hell and populate heaven. Wow. Remember, they were all doing the same thing. One is laying bricks, the other one is making a cathedral. The other one does not just see a beautiful cathedral. He sees because of that cathedral, many drunkards, many prostitutes will change their way because the cathedral was made. So he sees himself in the job of depopulating hell and populating heaven. Do you realize that guy every night he slept, he felt in touch with God, isn't it? He's doing ministry. All because of different conceptualization of the leader and the communication he had done of the people below. So that we are saying, the emphasis is, whenever you become a leader of a new group, do not spend time talking about the job you're supposed to do. Insist on going back to why the group exists. Don't assume that this year started a long time ago. Within the first 2 weeks of taking over the leadership, you must retreat somewhere, not to discuss anything in particular, no particular activity, but to just go back to what we call clarifying the strategic intent. The strategic intent of the organization. Why does it exist? Why was it begun? Because if you don't, you will discover that within a short time, things change. You know, for those of us who are Pentecostals and evangelicals, when you sit and you go to the YMCA, you go to YWCA, you sit there and wonder, this organization, are they Christians? See people drinking, you see people. Am I communicating? You know about that one. If you want to know, just go back to your history. YMCA, YWCA was an evangelical outreach to young people of several centuries ago. It was a way of changing young people to love God and go to heaven. Somewhere along the way, as different groups came, it became a social welfare, an NGO. And currently, by and large, it is just a NGO. I've just been finished reading the biography of Booth. Booth started with church. Booth started Salvation Army. And he was a part of the Methodist Church. Methodist Church at that time. In fact, if somebody met you and says, and you are not drinking, says, are you a Methodist? Because they are the people who came out and said you can't be a Christian and drink. And so they were known to be radical Christians. That's the Methodist Church. But within 200 years, the Methodist Church that Booth joined, and because of the history of Wesley, he wanted to be with them. He discovered within a short time they were getting saved. It is not exactly the practice then. About just over 100 years after it had happened, was totally gone. And that's when he started Salvation Army. Let me tell you one of the things that made him start Salvation Army. It was that when he started, he was a young man, very excited about people getting saved. But then see, the Lord is not told who to save. He saved some very, very poor people. And he came with them church. After, he thought the whole church would be so happy to see that so many people have gotten saved. You know what the pastor called him afterwards? He said to me, thank you, young man, you are doing good. But those people are not really meant for church. Next time you come with them, put them at the back, where other people will not see them. That's why he decided, if they are not welcome in the church, he must have a church for them. That's why Salvation Army was started. Several years later, you talk to somebody in Salvation Army, are you born again? Don't disturb me. We are helping. Now, moved away from spiritual to become a social church, a church that helps the poor. Their job was not to help the poor. It is that as you help the poor, you show them the way to heaven. Are we together? Why do you think, and I'm going to give you a very, very, you can Google them to get the background. Now, I'm giving you stories as to why the vision changes and organizations don't achieve their vision. Because certain leaders have a vision different from the founders and maybe even different from the people they are leading. So I'm saying the first important thing whenever you take any task is to sit together as a leadership and ask yourself, okay, this thing is written. What's the vision? The vision of the organization to become the best CU south of the Sahara, north of Limpopo. That's a DCF vision. Now, what does that mean? But then that's a useless vision. But what does it what does it mean? It means you are in competition with other Christian unions, isn't it? Is that a vision worth having? Because you see, if the other CU started doing mediocre things, the mediocre CU that is better than the other CUs will have achieved its vision, isn't it? Because your aim is to just be better, isn't it? And if all CUs are mediocre, you are just a little more or less mediocre than them. You are all mediocre. Is that where you want to achieve? So it's important to ask yourself, who are you? Where do you want to go? Because if you don't, the same title can give you trouble. So what I'm emphasizing is, and that happens, like just yesterday, I was asked by KSF, I told you I'm the chief patron of KSF. So they've just asked me to organize something because the KSF started in 1959. So we will soon be celebrating 60 years. And they are realizing the 60 years, it will mean that many of the founders will be dead within the next years. Because people die around 70. A little earlier some, but the Bible gives us around 70. So they are saying, why don't we find a way when they are still alive? Because they are no longer, those people are around 70 now. And because you see, if they were in high school in 1959, they may have been 15 years, isn't it? So by the time we hit 60, they'll be 80 something. So we are trying to see how can we now have a kind of a hero's day when we recognize them and ask them to relate the story and remind us what the vision was. Now, so when we met last night, because that was our first meeting, they just asked me not too long ago. So I said we call our first meeting. Yesterday we spent the whole time just checking, why are we here? In fact, one of them said when I was asked to come, I wondered, we are a youth movement. What are we doing with old people? I thought like not coming. That's what the guy told me. Because he doesn't want to spend time on guys on their way to dying. Now, he wants to spend time with young people. So we had to take time to talk about the reason why we want a Heroes' Day is so that whatever ignited them to sacrifice as far as they sacrifice can ignite the people in their 20s. Are you getting the point? As you hear the story. So the target is not them. The target are the young. So if you want to help young people, get those people to give their testimony about how they lived and the challenges of leading KSF when everything was run. Those were colonial days. Everything was run by white people. And now they wanted to start a Kenyan African thing. Now, what I'm trying to get you to see is that it is important and critical. We spend the whole time, because people were saying, why don't we say, when will it be? I said, no, let's not worry. Whether there will be a Heroes' Day, when it will happen, why do we want it is the agenda for today's meeting. Because clarifying the vision of what you want to achieve through it will help us when you are working the details to throw away some details that don't have the vision, isn't it? Anything that doesn't contribute to the success of the vision is not worth having. If you say, let's buy them suits, so how will buy them suits help us to realize our vision? That will be the critical thing that we have to deal with. Unfortunately, my 1 hour has gone, and it's tea time, isn't it? Is the tea there? So I should not have an excuse for saying the tea is not ready. But I hope within the time you have seen the importance of having strategy in your mind. Have I communicated? So, and then number 2 I'm emphasizing is that it's not a vision in your head. It is a vision that catches everybody, whatever they are doing, however senior, however junior. Have you gotten that? So if you are unable to get it from your head to other people's heads, please resign and let somebody else go on with the group. It's important. Number 2, you must have an agreed mission. Vision is the product, is a noun, the end product of your activity. Mission is a verb. Vision is a noun, mission is a verb. Whenever you want to write mission, you must say, what will you do to achieve the vision? In other words, you know where you are going. What is it you will do? Because you can achieve the vision through many strategies. What is the particular strategy? For example, you can have one GO whose job is to alleviate suffering. But their mission is to provide cheap, subsidized medicine. That can help people alleviate suffering. Am I right? But you can have another one with the same vision, But their mission is give drinking water that is safe. It will still help people not suffer from diarrhea, isn't it? So it is still alleviating suffering, isn't it? So you need to ask yourself, and if you go to my book, I have a chapter on discovering your mission, where and I've also repeated that information. Now I've put it in my website. If you want to Google my website on how to discover your life mission as a person, I have put it in my website, which is simply John Nganga. Write the name John and the name Nganga, but with no apostrophes on the G. So www.johnnganga.org. You will be able to see one of the articles I've placed there is how to discover your mission. Because what I'm saying is, mission is important. And any leader must have a clarity that although this is a good thing to do, that's a good thing to do, what you have decided to do is the following. And once you are clear about what you are achieving, it will help the group. Again, that mission must be agreed. All of us. Because a lot of people say, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? You need to agree. What is it? Because you can't do everything. What is it you are supposed to do? And you stick to it. Like if you are the peer, what is my friend? The pillars of transformation. Then you must restrict yourself to transformation. But then they are going to say transformation includes dressing people so they dress better. You have to ask yourself, are we involved in dressing people? What is it that we want to achieve? Your mission, your vision may be clear, but your mission must also be both clear and agreed. Everybody who comes in. And when you discover somebody does not agree with your mission, please suggest to him, it will be very good for him to try work somewhere else. Because you will be spending all your time in the group, pulling different directions. So that's why anybody who comes to join your group, the first thing should be, hello, thank you for coming. Take him aside. Tell him what your vision is. Tell him your mission. He says, is that all you do? I liked your vision, but I didn't know you have limited your mission to that. I'm not coming in. Let the person know exactly how you are carrying. What's your mission in life? To do what? I told you mission is a verb. Something you have to do. So what are you going to do? What have you agreed you are going to do? It's important to agree. Then thirdly, it's important to agree core values. What are core values? Core values are non-negotiable convictions. This group of us believes in the following. I normally call core values as boundaries. In other words, that's our vision. This is how we hope to go there, but these are our boundaries. I can't go beyond this, and I can't go beyond this. I'll follow this narrow area. So, for example, you have decided to alleviate suffering, but you will never encourage prostitution. And yet prostitution will alleviate suffering, isn't it? Because somebody who could not dress, now they can even go to London. Because Wazungus are paying their flight. Now, so you can very easily miss the point. So you need core values, where morality becomes a core value. So anything that's not moral, you will not do it. Even when that activity will help your vision and help your mission. Core values are very limiting. Because the core value tells you, I will not do it, even if. In other words, I don't want to succeed at any cost. I only succeed within the following boundaries. And I can tell you, please don't join an organization until you know you are their core values. Because you join it just to discover you can't agree with the methodologies. Because they believe, for example, Africans are hopeless. They don't think. So you are helping Africans. You must think for them. Now, once you discover that their belief system, that their value, and you are an African, unless you accept, first of all, you are useless yourself, how will you join the group? Am I communicating? So it's important, even when you apply for jobs, don't just apply. Find out what's their vision, what's their mission, finally find out what are their core values. Because that will help you in order to know where you are going. Remember, we are still talking about strategic vision of a leader. And you are saying, when you do the things you have described, you will be able to move along the line.